In the end, capturing the fake Ura meant we no longer needed to hold the training camp. Kana and Komakichi were too wrapped up in preparations and procedures for taking in Kureha to leave the Sakagami estate. As such, I would be spending the scant remaining days of Golden Week lazing around my room, sipping on booze, but... I checked my phone screen and noticed an incoming call from Aoi. She hadn't spoken to me since the night she went to the Sakagami estate with Kureha. Yes, hello? Yeah? Aoi's usual spirited voice was gone. We had briefly teamed up the night we took down the fake Ura and were technically in the middle of a diplomatic breakdown, so her apprehension made sense. However, hopefully we could put an end to this today now that Aoi had called me on her own accord. Aoi could be egotistical and stubborn, but she wasn't hard-headed enough to stay mad at me forever. Sure, don't worry about it. It's fine. Try not to worry about it. Aoi was prone to jealousy and often elevated her role as my little sister to the extreme, but she was a kind girl at core. Accepting her with an open heart was what it meant to be a big brother. Of course I would. I'd love to have some of your cooking for a change. Aoi's cheerful laughter rang through the phone. Yeah, this was the Aoi I knew and loved. Around the time the sun was starting to set, Aoi showed up at my dorm room with ingredients in hand. Tonight's dinner was tonkatsu. The strips of pork cutlet were a bit distorted, but that was part of Aoi's charm and left me grinning. Yeah, this is amazing. The meat is really tasty too. The fake Ura dilemma had been resolved and Aoi was back in a good mood. Let's keep the good times rolling and help myself to some booze. What's up? Going forward. Oh. Yeah, that was right. You've got a point. Now that the fake Ura has been captured, there's no reason for us to be here anymore. Ordinarily, this is the part where we would transfer to the next school in another area. Aoi's response was heavy. You and Kureha finally started getting along too. She brought it up all on her own, and her retort pierced through my heart. My chest throbbed with pain. It's not just Akari. It'll be rough saying goodbye to everyone from the committee. Komakichi is a pervert, but even he is a decent guy. Well, my heart throbbed in pain yet again. Well, Akari and I have been partners for a while now, and it would hurt to say goodbye. You'd have a hard time saying goodbye to Kureha too, right? On that note, we fell silent. Although we'd only been here for a short time, Aoi and I both had created so many precious memories on this island. But we won't accomplish anything if we stay here. Let's ask Grandpa what we should do. Probably. Wait a second. Why am I hesitating? I'm just gonna call him right now. I snatched my cell phone on impulse. At about the time I retrieved Grandpa's number from the internal address book, my fingers suddenly stopped. If I hit that call button, then I was sure I couldn't see Akari and the others anymore. Yeah. I jammed my finger against that heavy button. An immensely heavy silence overtook the room as the dial tone chimed. Neither Aoi nor I wanted to leave this island yet. Our mission is complete. We've captured the fake Ura. We handed her into the three great families' custody. They granted leniency after taking her unique circumstances into consideration, and it seems she will be working as a member of the Sakagami family's ninja squadron. I think everything ended on a high note. I was a bit relieved to hear Grandpa's satisfied tone. However, now came the real matter at hand. So, what should we do? Huh? His response was so unexpected that I gave a foolish reply. No, we actually quite enjoy our life here. Everything is working out just like we wanted. For a short while I stared at my cell phone screen in a stupor. Stand by? We'd never received directions like that before. We'd always packed up and relocated elsewhere immediately after completing our mission, as staying in one place only increased the odds of Ura's true identity being revealed. To stand by here for a while. He also said to thank you for your hard work. Aoi let out a relieved sigh, and I couldn't help but do the same. Yeah, for sure. I can still be with Akari. I nearly went with the flow of Aoi's comment and said that out loud, but caught those words in the back of my throat. Still, Akari was the first thing that came to mind, huh? Hoo boy. Guess there was no downplaying these feelings any longer. Despite how cold it was, I'd grown accustomed to my early morning jogs. Having Akari at my side, with her long, black hair tied up into a ponytail, made it all the more enjoyable. Sure has. We've had our hands full lately, especially with the fake Ura stuff. We took a short break on the side of the road and relished in the cool air against our warm skin. Golden Week had finally come to an end, and we'd be returning to school starting today. Oh, a follow-up report? Let me hear it. Oh, I see. Haha, I'm sure. It's pretty rare to find people as talented as she is. She put up a pretty tough fight. The malevolence she had back then had faded away, and Akari was generally delighted her underclassmen would be coming back soon. That's what I saw in her smile, at least. I figured it would come to that eventually. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Sorry, Akari. I'm the real Ura. But I wonder when he'll show up next. Wouldn't he be through with this island now that the imposter's been caught? Yes, Phantom Thief Ura no longer had any reason to remain on this island. The fact I was even here right now was an unexpected bonus.
それでいつも偉そうなおか。本家の連中の鼻を明かしてやるんだから。
You're acting like a detective shooting for a promotion, one likely to get killed in the line of duty soon after.
違うもん、そうなんじゃないわよ。
But all that talk about rubbing their faces in it.
それは言葉のあやというか。
Ha ha ha, well, I guess that's fine. I replied and patted Akari's head. Despite her protests, Akari made no attempt to brush my hand aside. She dipped her head, looking a bit shy. A little more. I wanted to spend just a little more time with Akari like this. I took a quick trip home and took a shower. Later, in what felt like a brand new term in homeroom.
もうじき中間テストだな。
That short comment from Tamaiko-sensei was enough to utterly and completely annihilate the abundant hope I had for the future ahead. No! Damn it! Thanks to the fake Ura, tests had slipped my mind.
まさかテストの日程を忘れてるやつはいないと思うが、それまでちゃんと勉強しておくよ。以上、授業を終わる。
Tamahiko-sensei launched that merciless attack on my corpse-like body and left in the classroom. All I could do now was to plant both elbows firmly on my desk and hold my head. No! I rubbed my head against my desk and groaned, and Akari stared at me with concerned eyes.
ケイスケ、どうしたの？まさかテスト勉強。
Yeah, I haven't studied at all.
ノートは？
Blank. Crystal clear.
綺麗だね。じゃないでしょ。どうするのよ。
Oh, what should I do?
やあ、話は聞かせてもらった。ケイスケは滅亡する。
Don't off me just like that.
ですが、テストまでもう日がないですよ。
Even Kana had overheard our conversation and walked up to my desk. Ugh, but, you know, there was that whole mess with the fake Ura. Are all of you okay?
普通にノートも取ってるし、復習もしてる。それだけで点は取れるじゃないか、常識的に考えて。
You of all people claiming it's common sense really pisses me off.
でも熊吉の言う通りよ。
Does that mean it's smooth sailing for you too, Akari?
まあね。あかりちゃんはいつも学年トップですから。
What about you, Kana?
苦手教科はありますけど、そこそこは。
You're all traitors. I've been stabbed in the back, and here I thought they were my friends.
授業中、先生がここテストに出すからなって散々言ってたじゃない。それと授業中寝すぎ。反省しなさい。
Ugh, I will. She was right. I'd stayed up late a few times working on models and had come to school on little to no sleep. Still, there was no use crying over spilled milk. And was water under the bridge. Better to let bygones be bygones. Let it go.
ケイスケさん、古典とか原告とか日本史なら私が教えてあげられますよ。
Really? I could see a halo above Kana's bobbed brown hair. Are you a saint?
せっかくですし、みんなで勉強会をしましょう。
お、いいね。それぞれの苦手教科をフォローし合えば効率はぐっと上がるよ。
あかりちゃんも来てね。私も理系はあまり得意じゃないから教えてほしいし。仕方ないわね。そういうことなら。
Akari nodded firmly to Kana's seemingly suggestive look. What was that look for?
じゃあ、放課後に委員会室に集合ってことでいいかな。
わかったわ。じゃあ、また放課後に。
Yeah, thanks everyone. You're all kindred spirits.
しっかり勉強しなさいよ。
Right. Man, I really meant it. Having friends was a blessing. Any memory I had of treating those friends like traitors only moments earlier had already faded in the furthest reaches of my mind. Later that day, we held a study session in the committee room.
とにかくテストまでもう時間がないわ。付け焼き場でも丸暗記にかけた方がいいわね。というわけでテストに出ると思われるポイントをまとめておきました。
Kana added as she handed me several handouts. Wow, incredible. You put these together so fast, and they are easy to read.
はい、ありがとうございます。
Classical literature and Japanese were always some of my better subjects. With Kana's notes, I could definitely bring up my grade.
先生が出すとおっしゃってた箇所は20丸をつけてあるので、そこだけは必ず覚えてくださいね。
Yeah, you've got it.
英語も文法なんて覚えてる暇ないから、教科書の例文と訳、単語の丸暗記、赤点回避に全力を注ぎましょう。
これが英語のノートのコピーだ。先生が出るって言ったところは以下同文。
For a Kumakichi, your writing is beautiful. It's so irritating.
君、僕をもっと愛してよ。扱いがひどすぎるよ。
That was a more than sufficient way to treat a man.
で、問題は理数系の科目ね。公式は最低限覚えてもらうとして、玉彦先生が絶対に出すって言ってた箇所だけは解けるようにしましょう。
I suck at math and science.
そこは私がみっちりレクチャーしてあげるから頑張りましょうね。
Akari's pre-arranged handouts included a bulky bundle of question sheets. This is...
数をこなさないと身につかないしね。さ、まずは公式を覚える。時間がないからサクサクいくわよ。
Hey.
自業自得なんだから泣き言言わないの。さ、ガンガン行くから覚悟しなさい。
You monster.
たまには鬼役もいいかも。
Momotaro's descendant replied with a devilish giggle. Akari's merciless and intensive tutoring continued until sunset. However, her teaching methods were quite logical and easy to comprehend, so it all worked out in the end. Hey, that rhymed. Hehe, I'm burned out. All that's left is pure white.
灰になってる場合じゃないわよ。このままだと枯れ木じゃなくてテストに赤点の花が咲くわよ。
Gah.
大変そうですけど頑張ってください。プリントちゃんと使ってくださいね。
友人として健闘を祈るよ。
Right. Ultimately, the first day of our study group ended with a hazing from Akari. The handouts and notes Kana and Kumakichi prepared for me went unused. I would have to study hard for midterms to make up for all the time they both put in.
じゃあ僕らはここで。
ケンスケさん、頑張ってくださいね。
Yeah, see you tomorrow then.
またね。
We said goodbye to the Sakagami siblings out in front of the school gates, and Akari and I walked home together.
なんかちょっと不思議な気分ね。
Akari made that brief comment while we walked down the dusk-colored hillside. What is? That was a sudden. Is sudden?
なんか平和だなーって。ついこの間までは毎日パトロールとか修行とか秘宝探しとかしてたのにね。
That's true. That's the biggest reason why our midterms completely slipped my mind.
最初はケイスケがパトロールについていくって言ってしつこかったっけ。
And you were going out of your way to turn me down.
そうだったわね。でもああして食い下がってくれたおかげで今こうして穏やかな気持ちでいられる。ありがとうケイスケ。あなたがいてくれてよかった。
Sure. Hearing her say that with that soft, gentle look kind of made my heart race like crazy. Idiot, you're asking me that to my face?
いつも頼れるお兄さんって感じのところばかり見てたから可愛いところが新鮮かなって。
Don't call a man cute.
でも可愛いものは可愛いからね。
Huh. I was unsure of how to interact with Akari when she acted like this. However, I couldn't let her get the best of me. How should I, a man, put this? If you want to play that game, then aren't you really, really cute? No, I mean, I felt like I'd just dug myself into one deep as hell grave. So, see, the way she was fidgeting was beyond fiendish. Akari's face didn't just look red due to the sunset. She turned her eyes upward at me and said,
私可愛いって思う？
Yeah, I do.
ありがとう。
We had a nice mood going and it felt like the world around us had been dyed a lovely shade of pink. We stood in place, but refused to look each other in the eye. Our breathing and the sound of our heartbeats sounded exceptionally loud. As usual, my stomach couldn't read the mood at all. No, maybe it actually had, in a certain sense. A part of me wanted to bask in this sweet mood for a while longer, but in the end... Aha, I'm starved. I played it off in the same foolish way I always did.
もうケイスケったらいつも腹ペコさんね。
I am a guy, you know.
今晩は葵ちゃん夕飯作りに来てくれるの？
Nah, she'll be at club until late, so I'm not holding out much hope. I guess that means I'll be eating cup ramen again.
あまり褒められた食生活じゃないわね。体壊しちゃうわよ。
Yeah, you've got a point, but it's so impressive that you can cook so well for yourself.
外食は栄養偏るし、お金かかるし、茶釜のまかない料理はありがたくいただいてるけど。
I see. The tea kettle offered benefits like that to their part-timers. It made sense why Kureha was working there given her financial situation. Well, I'll just go buy a lunchbox at the grocery store or something. That should still be better than anything instant.
そっか。それじゃあ私もついていっていいかな。食材買いたいし。
Sure. Shall we go together? We were following the usual pattern. While that came as a relief, there was a slight tingling sensation smoldering in my chest. If we'd kept up that conversation any longer, would I have gotten the chance to ask Akari how she felt? We swung by the shopping district, which was packed with housewives and students grabbing dinner-time purchases. I spotted a familiar face among the crowd.
あら、ケイスケ君にあかりちゃん？
Ah, Otome senpai.
こんばんは。先輩も買い物ですか？はい。ちょっと遅いですけど、お夕飯の買い出しに。
Oops. Yes, I am unfortunately considering buying a leftover lunchbox or something.
あらあら、そうなんですか？
Otome senpai looked between us and looked surprised by this sudden bit of information.
私はてっきりこれからあかりちゃんがケイスケ君の部屋に行って手料理を作るものだとばかり。いやでも無理ですからそれ。どうして？どうしてって男子寮は女子禁制ですし、葵ちゃんみたいに許可をもらってないと入れませんよ。ああ、なるほど。
Senpai nodded, seeming to have come to terms with that information, and smiled sweetly.
それでしたら今晩は私がケイスケ君のお夕飯を作って差し上げましょうか。
Are you allowed in the man's dorm? For real?
先輩、私の話聞いてました？許可がないと男子寮には入れないんですってば。それなら大丈夫です。私男子寮でも顔パスですから。
That was the board chairman's granddaughter for you. Maybe she had a lot of clout, even in the student dormitories.
というわけで圭介くんさえよければ今からお邪魔しちゃいますけどどうしますか？
Her suggestion certainly did make me happy and was more than I could have ever asked for, given how talented Otome-senpai was in the kitchen. For that matter, what possible reason could I have to refuse to eat dinner with such a beautiful upperclassman? I bet just a short while ago I would have answered, of course, without a moment's hesitation. But, senpai, could we invite Akari as well?
はい、もちろん。もともとそのつもりでしたし。でもこんな時間に、しかも男子寮に女子が入るのは規則で禁止されてて。大丈夫です。規則には特例というものがありますから。あかりちゃんの入寮を特別に許可しちゃいます。そんな無茶苦茶な。
Otome-senpai noticed Akari was being a real stickler for the rules and took her hand with a smile.
あかりちゃん、規則は人を幸せにするためにあるものです。不幸にするためのものではありませんか？でも私、委員長ですし。じゃあこうしちゃいましょう。先輩。
Senpai suddenly pulled Akari into a tight embrace. To me, it looked like she had decided to play hardball.
かわいい。よしよし。やめ、先輩。
She hugged Akari's face against her plump chest and patted her head in an effort to soothe her.
一人より二人、二人より三人の方がご飯は美味しいですよ。それはそうですけど。だから一緒にご飯食べましょう。あかりちゃんのお料理も食べたいですし、みんなと一緒ならきっと楽しいですから。いい子いい子。
Akari began to nuzzle against her like a fawning kitten, and Senpai gently accepted her. They looked more like a mother and daughter than a pair of siblings. It was actually kind of charming. Otome-senpai's claims of getting by on facial recognition went as expected. With a few brief words to the dorm manager, Senpai and Akari were escorted to my dorm room. As such, two girls were currently in my tiny kitchen and making me dinner.
あかりちゃん、お醤油取ってくださいな。はい。
Two beautiful ladies making me a home-cooked meal? What sort of eroge was this? I was restless and having trouble containing my excitement, so I sat on my knees and waited in front of the table. I could hear how much fun they were having, as well as smell the intoxicating aroma that wafted through the air from the kitchen.
ケイスケ、どこかに日本酒あるかしら。
Yeah, should be in the fridge.
ありがとう。
I felt like I just made a terrible suggestion.
ちょっとケイスケ、これは何？学生にはふさわしくないもので冷蔵庫が埋め尽くされているんだけど。
Akari's cheeks twitched as she grabbed and thrust a pair of 2-liter bottles in front of me. No! I messed up!
飲んでるのね。
Well.
シンクの下にあった大量の空き瓶、貯蔵してあったおつまみの数々、そしてこのお酒、証拠はすべて上がってるのよ。言い逃れはできないわよ。
Guess my only choice here was to accept it and come clean. Yes, I drink.
なるほどね。茶釜でいつも甘酒頼んでたわけが分かった気がするわ。
Man, ha ha ha.
あははじゃないわよ。お酒は大人になってから。
But listen, I can't work up any energy unless I drink.
その若さでアル中なんてご両親も悲しむわよ。
No, seriously, it's hereditary, so I can't help it.
ケイスケ、私もついていってあげるから、ちゃんとお医者さんに診てもらってしっかり治しましょう。
She did seem to be looking at me like a genuine alcoholic. Of course, no one would believe me if I told them the full and honest truth. Mentioning being hung sober may as well label me an alcoholic. But it's not like I could quit cold turkey.
はーい、準備できましたよ。ご飯にしましょう。先輩、聞いてくださいよ。ケイスケったらお酒を。まあまあ、お酒をたしなむのは健全な男性の証拠です。ほらほら、あかりちゃんも配膳手伝ってくださいな。ちょっと先輩。さあさあ。
Otome senpai prodded Akari along by the shoulders and dragged her into the kitchen. I was saved. Wow, I'm looking forward to dinner.
あ、もう。ケイスケ、覚えてなさいよ。
I could hear Akari complaining from the kitchen, but I'd better just take advantage of Otome senpai's backup and ignore it. Oh, this is... The assortment of dishes packed on top of the table made me cry out in excitement. They were your typical garden variety dishes that were neither extravagant nor expensive, and about what you'd find in most ordinary households. The dishes weren't flashy and in fact quite simple, but they were gentle and warm.
お待たせしちゃってごめんなさい。さあ、いただきましょう。
With a sweet smile, Otome senpai put her hands together. Akari and I followed suit and said grace.
いただきます。
Thank you for the meal. I immediately grabbed my chopsticks and dug into the plate in front of me that looked like daikon radish stew. Wow, delicious!
よかったです。いっぱいありますから、たくさん食べてくださいね。
Sure! The white rice is really yummy too.
炊飯器に大さじ1杯の蜂蜜入れると美味しくなるの。
Oh, is that why your onigiri tasted so great?
なるほど、本当に美味しいですね。私も今度から入れるようにしましょう。
Every dish I tried was nothing short of amazing. If I were to complain about a single one, then surely I'd incur some sort of divine punishment. I lunged my chopsticks across the table at such a high velocity that I likely left an afterimage in its wake. Delicious. So tasty. Beyond good.
ケイスケ君ならそんなにがっつかなくてもお料理は逃げたりしませんよ。でも本当に美味しいです。先輩が作ったお料理。
Akari took a bite of her meal and let out a small sigh. Huh, that was a pretty funny reaction to make when eating something tasty. What's wrong, Akari?
やっぱりかなわないなって。
Huh?
先輩のお料理すごく美味しい。私なんかじゃ全然かなわない。
Akari drooped her shoulders and seemed somewhat disheartened by the revelation. Akari was also quite skilled in the kitchen, and I saw no reason for her to be so upset. Just then I gave a satisfied groan at the flavor that coursed throughout my mouth. I'd eaten white fish cooked in soy sauce. The rich flavor of the broth permeated the meat as it melted in your mouth, then wrapped things off with a faint yet well-placed ginger aftertaste. This is delicious. I dug into the soy sauce-laden fish and practically inhaled the rest in an almost trance-like state, I hadn't had any fish dishes this good in a long time.
それはあかりちゃんが作ったんですよ。
Wow, it tastes amazing.
本当に美味しかった。
Yeah, very much so. That was my unadulterated, honest impression. I bet an actor on some cooking show could come up with a video expression, but tasty was the only compliment my simple brain could form. You're a great cook too, Akari. Between your lunch boxes and the curry from the other day, it's all been delicious.
ありがとう。
Akari was so cute when she blushed.
さあさあ、ではお料理がなくなってしまう前に1個。
Oh boy! Sorry about making you pour my drink for me.
いえいえ。
Senpai pulled out a bottle of booze and poured me a glass in a rather nonchalant fashion. The alcohol poured with a glug glug glug. It put my heart at ease no matter how often I heard that noise.
ちょっと先輩、何を自然にお酒ついでるんですか？ケイスケ君がお好きそうでしたので。
Yes, thank you for the drink. Yeah, delicious. Delicious food, delicious alcohol, and a beautiful lady to pour it for me. This was exceptional.
まあ、いい飲みっぷり。ケイスケも飲まないの？
Would you like me to pour you a drink too, Senpai?
あら、ありがとうございます。ですが弱いので、一杯だけ。だから継ぐな！
I disregarded Akari's shouts and filled Senpai's glass to the brim with booze. She didn't hesitate in the slightest and brought the glass to her lips. Oh, seeing a pretty girl drink is kind of hot.
恐縮です。もう、二人ともどうしてお酒なんか飲んじゃうのよ。
Oh, sorry. Here, Akari, hold out your glass too. Now that it had come to this, may as well ease into it and coerce Akari to drink with us. There was no greater travesty to life than not knowing how delicious alcohol could be.
ダメよ。お酒は大人になってから。まあまあ、何事も経験ですよ。大人になってから経験します。
Have you never had alcohol before?
あるわけないでしょ。
She whipped her head to the side, but then suddenly perked her head up, seeming to have remembered something.
そっか。一度だけあったっけ。
Ah, like some New Year's spiced sake or something?
ううん。お父さんがお酒飲んでる時、ほんの少しだけ舐めさせてもらったの。あの時はどうして大人ってこんな苦いものを飲むんだろうって思ったけど。
Akari added with a distant look in her eyes.
お父様はお好きだったんですか？お酒。はい。週末の夜はいつも一人でちびちび飲んでました。
I wondered how Akari's father must have felt when he let her try a sip of his alcohol. I'm sure your father would have wanted to drink with you when you got bigger.
そうかも。
Now that you are older, why don't we say a toast to your dad? I said while holding the bottle out once more.
じゃあ本当にちょっとだけね。
I filled Akari's glass halfway and the three of us clinked our glasses together. Cheers!
乾杯。
Akari timidly brought the glass to her mouth.
おいしい。
Oh, you might like alcohol a lot more than you thought.
そうなのかな。うん、でもほんのり甘くて飲みやすいわね。
Akari tipped the remainder of her glass into her mouth and chugged it down beautifully. Haha, alright. Up for another glass? I filled Akari's cup to the rim, then poured some into my own glass. Delicious alcohol, delicious food, and two adorable ladies here with me. Today's the best day of my life.
ケイスケったらみんなで飲むお酒って美味しいですね。
We picked at our food while pouring each other drinks. Thanks to that, we went through the entire bottle by the time our meal was through.
少し飲みすぎたみたいです。暑いですね。
Oh, oh! Otome-senpai flipped up her skirt and flapped it to fan herself. Each time she flicked it upright, I could see faint traces of a very thin fabric underneath that I really should not look at. Ah, there it was again.
何やってるんですか先輩、見えちゃいますよ。いいじゃないですか。減るものでもなし。
The corners of her eyes were tinted a light shade of pink, and she giggled playfully to herself. By the looks of things, Otome-senpai was very drunk.
それに、ケイスケくんも喜んでいるみたいですし。ちら
Oh, oh! Otome-senpai's flashing me.
ケイスケ、何見てるのよ。
Come on, she's going out of her way to show me. Wouldn't it be rude not to look?
なでしこたるもの、男児を喜ばせるべしですよ。あかりちゃんも、ほら。
With that comment, Senpai flipped up Akari's skirt. By total reflex, my eyes locked onto Akari's lower body, but... Oh, I see. You had spats on her. Ha ha ha.
スパッツで悪かったわね。残念でしたね、ケイスケくん。はい、ちら。
Oh, a sight for sore eyes. Akari glared at the two of us from the sidelines, grabbed her glass, and consumed the remainder of her drink in one go. Hey Akari, don't drink it like that. It's a waste. You're supposed to savor it.
味わってるわよ、ちゃんと。おかわり。はい、どうぞ。
Otome-senpai poured her another glass without missing a beat. Once Akari's glass was filled to the brim, she chugged it down in one go once again. Her eyes were kind of starting to glaze over.
ケイスケ、さっきなんだスパッツかなんて言っちゃってくれたわよね。
Yeah.
見てなさい。
Akari staggered to her feet and reached under her skirt. Hey Akari, what do you think you're doing?
こうするのよ。これで、ほら。
Oh, oh! Before I had any chance to stop her, Akari all but tore her spat straight down. I caught sight of her panties for the very first time, and my eyes were practically glued to them.
これで乙女先輩にも負けないですよ。どうですか？私はスパッチュ脱いでからが本番ですよ。
Akari stared at Otome-senpai, took on an imposing stance, and puffed out her chest. Ah, when she stood like that with her legs spread, all I could think of was her panties. Those glorious panties. I was so happy.
ついに本気を出しましたね、あかりちゃん。これは私も本気を出さざるを得ないようですね。西園寺乙女、脱ぎます。
Oh, tits! Tits! Senpai's massive knockers. Titties! I couldn't help but clench my fist and shake it up and down excitedly.
涼しいです何言えるんですかちょっと大きいからってそんな凶悪なものはケイスケに見せちゃダメですあかりちゃんのいけず
With that remark, Akari tried to force Senpai to put her clothes back on.
悪は滅びましたあかりちゃん意地悪です
Yeah, that's right. Show him off some more. Give Senpai's boobs back.
もうケイスケったらどうしてそんなにエッチなの
She puffed her cheeks and leaned in close. It could be because she was drunk, but her red face was extremely sexy. I mean, I am a guy, so I can't exactly resist it when a cute girl jiggles her boobs at me.
ケイスケおっきい方が好きなんだ
Well, if I had to choose.
ではここでケイスケくんの性癖チェックしちゃいましょう
What?
あかりちゃんケイスケくんを押さえておいてくださいねは
What? Akari? With that, Akari bound my arms behind my back. Her boobs were pressing against my back. Uhahaha.
ーいほんとケイスケったらエッチなんだからそんなエッチケイスケは私のおっぱいで満足してなさい
Ah, oh. They may not have been as large as Otome Senpai's, but those dumpling-sized titties, or maybe I should say huge peaches, were tender and felt incredible.
乙女隊長エッチなケイスケがおとなしくなりましたよくできましたあかり隊員ではこの隙に家宅捜索を始めたいと思います
What was that?
一人暮らしの男の子ですしガードは甘いと思うので実用性を考えるとオーソドックスにベッドの下に
No, stop! That's a boy's holy ground and off limits to women.
ほらおとなしくしてなさいよおっぱい好きなんでしょ
Against my back. There's something amazing hitting me.
ケイスケいい匂いがする
Hey, don't sniff me. That tickles. What a unique feeling it was to have a girl hug and squish her boobs against you, all while having your dirty secrets exposed. What should I do?
ありましたじゃーんエッチな本
No!
ひふみあらあら結構ありますねお盛んですねケイスケくん
Don't look at my sexual secrets. Don't look.
あらケイスケくんったら結構マニアックなご趣味をお持ちで乙女先輩私も見たいでしゅ
Don't. You can't look.
ケイスケくん男の子は諦めも肝心ですよここはみんなで見ちゃいましょう賛成ですいいですねケイスケくん暴れたりしちゃダメですよ
Please, just do whatever you want. I slithered away and shed tears of manly sorrow as Otome Senpai and Akari dug through and appreciated my cherished collection. What kind of sick torture was this?
これ今みたいに後ろからしちゃってる広範囲俗に言うバックですね男の子が突き上げると女の子はたまらないらしいです
You sure know a lot, Senpai.
本で読みました
What kind of books are you reading?
淑女のたしなみですエッチ 男の子が上で女の子が下で普通にするものだって思ってた。
Akari was red as a lobster, yet she continued to flip through the pages with a mystified look on her face.
今度は女の子が上になってる。騎乗位ですね。女の子が好きな位置で挿入できるのが特徴です。女性が主導権を握るので、男性を喜ばせたい時にも用いられます。
You really are well informed.
淑女のたしなみです。すごい。こんなことまでするんだ。
Despite all of her comments, Akari couldn't take her eyes off the page. Man, what sort of sexual play would you call it when a group of 3 men and women were all huddled around looking at porn together?
あ、こっちの方は制服プレイが多いですね。OL さんとかキャビンアテンダントさんとか。大人っぽいのが好きなんですか？本も随分使い込まれてますし。
No! Please don't say things like that, senpai.
どうなんですか？
It was actually kind of hot when senpai pressed me for answers. To be honest, I also enjoy mature-looking ladies.
照れるケイくん、かわいいです。
Kei-kun? What was with that heart-racing nickname?
照れるケイシケはかわいいですよね。
I'm not sure how I feel about being called cute.
こっちはウェイトレスものが。
Uniforms are a man's dream. Now that we'd reached this point, I was desperate. After giving it more thought, this was a pretty tasty situation. Better just act like I don't give a damn and enjoy it.
ケイスケ、ウェイトレス好きなんだ。
Yeah, I guess. Come to think of it, Akari was also a waitress. To be perfectly honest, she got major points from me when she wore the tea kettle's uniform.
ケイスケ、私のことそういう目で見てたんだ。
Just a little.
ちょっとだけ。
Akari leaned toward me with a dissatisfied look on her face. She was so close, I could feel her breath on me.
本当にちょっとだけ？
No, Akari, you have a pretty sexy body.
エッチな体だから？
I'm sorry, I have eyed you up before. I told her how I honestly felt. This was going to be a total mood killer, wasn't it?
そうなんだ。
Despite my nervousness and instantly putting my guard up, Akari just fidgeted and twisted around in place. As usual, that gesture was extraordinarily sexy. If I didn't show some restraint, it was going to put me in a funny mood.
ケイくん、男の子ですもんね。身近な女の子を意識してしまうのは仕方がないですよ。
When you put it that way, it's a real lifesaver.
それに、そういう感情から恋って生まれるものですしね。そうなんですか？はい。ですから、ケイくんがあかりちゃんラブになっても全然おかしくありません。
Hey, senpai?
巨乳メイドさんもの発見です。
Hey, don't say something so meaningful, then go straight back to the porn.
エッチな本って写真だけじゃなくて文も載ってますよね。大好きなご主人様、今夜もたくましい肉棒にご奉仕させていただきます。キャー、言っちゃいました、言っちゃいました。恥ずかしい。
That was way too realistic, and I was having a difficult time keeping my own cock under control.
ケイくんったらもじもじしちゃって。
I mean, given what you read just now, there's no way I wouldn't be.
やった、ケイくんにドキドキしてもらっちゃいました。ほらほら、今度はあかりちゃんですよ。ここを読んでみてください。いや、こんなの くん喜びますよ。でもほら頑張って。
Nah, you don't need to force yourself, okay? The way Utame-senpai recited that line was already terrifying enough, so I wasn't entirely sure if I could hold back if Akari did the same.
無理なんかじゃないもん。2番吉備住あかり読みます。
Crap, it just ended up provoking her further.
ご主人様のたくましい肉棒が乱暴に私を貫いてわしを突き。いやもう言えませんよ。照れるあかりちゃんかわいいです。先輩話してください。あかりちゃん抱き心地いいです。もみもみしちゃいます。
Too stimulating. I didn't give a damn about them looking at my porn anymore. I was really worked up at this point. The party started off with a single glass of booze and had quickly gone off the rails with a number of reckless and bizarre turns along the way. However, it eventually tapered off and receded like the rising tide.
乙女先輩寝ちゃったね。
Yeah, looks like it. Senpai was snoozing away and using the floor cushion as a pillow. Just to be safe, I covered her up with a thin blanket.
ケイスケ。
Akari, whose eyes were a tad on the red side, held out another bottle of booze to me. I presented my empty glass in a rather natural fashion. With one glug after another, Akari poured me a full glass. Sorry about this. Here, you have some too. I took the bottle and poured Akari a glass. We gently knocked our glasses together and brought them to our lips. Yup, booze had never tasted this good before. You hold your alcohol really well.
そうなのかな。こんなに飲んだの初めてだからよくわからないけど。
Compared to before, she was mostly tipsy at this point. That flushed skin and glazed eyes. At that moment, all I could think of was how sexy she looked. Drinking alone is nice, but drinking with a kindred spirit like you makes it taste even better.
気の合う相手。
She whispered that under her breath as she traced the rim of her glass with her index finger.
私ってケイスケと気が合う？
We'd have to be, or else I couldn't be your partner. With a quiet laugh, I knocked back another glass. After a moment of looking downward and pondering something, Akari said,
相棒だから。
Hmm?
相棒だからキスしたの？
Buh! I unintentionally spat out the booze in my mouth. What are you? You've had a little too much to drink. You must be drunk. A stiff smirk crossed my face in my attempts to somehow downplay this. However, Akari gazed at me with those passionate, glistening eyes and scooched up close.
ねえ、どうしてあの時私にキスしたの？
Well, I could feel her hot breath, heartbeat, and body heat simultaneously. It was so hot and so sweet. I gulped loudly. My face was on fire, and it certainly wasn't the alcohol's fault.
ねえ、教えて。
Akari pushed me back, and I put my hands on the floor behind me. Why had I kissed Akari? What had been going through my mind at the time? How did I feel about her? When she saw that I was at a loss for words, she cast her eyes down to the floor.
私とキスするの嫌だった？
Of course not! I raised my voice and took hold of her shoulders. There was no way that was true. Of course I could never hate it. For a moment her eyes went wide with surprise. Then a reassured smile rose to her face. Huh? She followed through, wrapped her arms around my neck, and pulled me into a tight embrace. Then, slowly, she put her weight against me.
ケイスケ
And brushed her lips against mine. It was a gentle peck at first, then transitioned into an awkward yet enjoyable kiss. Akari's scent tickled my nostrils. I could feel a gentle warmth from her chest against my torso.
ケイスケ
Our second kiss tasted of rice wine.
ケイスケケイスケ
Akari called my name and all but pushed me down with her full body weight as she kissed me in a daze. Akari, 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 Akari. I put both arms around her back and hugged her tightly. I was drunk on Akari's voice, her scent, and her warmth. I pried her soft lips apart and stuck the tip of my tongue into her mouth. Her entire body bounced with surprise for but a moment. In no time at all, her body relaxed and she willingly accepted my tongue. Our tongues wrapped together and we shared sweet saliva, stronger, deeper, and practically melding into one.
ケイスケケイスケ
Akari was so cute when she called out my name and demanded my lips. Simply gorgeous. I wanted to kiss and stay like this forever. I wanted to be with her until the end of time, forever and ever. I wanted to be with Akari. That was one thing I felt more strongly than ever.